Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Crazy Over Parties. Guys, before we get started, like always, please make sure that you like, subscribe, share the channel with other creators, DIYers, event planners, people that just love to watch YouTube videos. Anybody in your life that you have that would enjoy the videos that I am posting on my page, you guys please share it with them. It will really help me out. All right, now that I got all of that out the way, I am on a setup. This is a very small setup that I needed to have done. The client requested a draped backdrop, a sign, chair, and some balloons. So it's a very small setup. It took me maybe an hour to get everything done at the most. So as you can see, I have Insane Party Rentals here. They are draping the backdrop for me. And I also got that cage throne chair from them as well. Before they left, I had to ask them to hang that sign for me. I have the hardest time cutting a straight line, drawing a straight line, making sure things are even. I don't know what that, I guess, like, what that's called or what that, like, problem is called, but I have that problem. So I always try to get, like, someone else to kind of hang it for me. Or if I hang it, I ask for another set of eyes to kind of just make sure it's even. It's kind of weird. I'm sure I'm not the only person that has that problem. If you do, comment below. We can, like, be friends or something. I don't know. Anyway, they're hanging the sign, and they were hanging the sign to each side of the pole. So I was waiting on them to complete hanging that sign before I started adding balloons to it so I wouldn't get in their way, because I'm sure they had other deliveries. So shout out to them, Insane Party Rentals. I really appreciate you guys' help all the time and your dedication. If you're in Atlanta, hey, holler at them. So here I already had most of my balloons blown up. I will link a video to how I prepare my balloons from another YouTube video that I've done below, so you guys can see, just in case you are new to the channel and you haven't seen my process previously. But to make a short version of what I do, I blow up 4 balloons and I tie those 4 balloons to make one cluster, and then I blow up another set of 4 balloons to make a second cluster of the same color. I tie those 2 sets together, and then I put another 2 sets of the same design together to make 8 balloons. I hope that makes sense. I don't think it did, but I am going to show you guys what I'm talking about in about 3 minutes. Before the video ends, I will make sure that I show you my process of when I blow up balloons and how I make my clusters. So here I have my 260s, and I am tying my 260 to that cluster of balloons, and then I am going to tie that 260 around the set of balloons that's already tied to the backdrop stand. So I personally tie my balloons 3 different places on my backdrop stand or to whatever fixture I'm attaching the balloons to, just to make sure that they're secure and that they won't fall once I leave the setup. Once I made sure that the balloons were secure, I went and I added another set of gold to the top. I wanted the balloons to go all the way to the top but have a little bit extended to the middle, but I couldn't add too much to that top piece because you can see that the on my on cloud 9 sign was at the very top, and I don't want my balloons to cover that. So I played around with which way I wanted that set of gold balloons to go because I wanted it to be nice. So I played around with it. I turned it a few times just to see which angle looked the best. Once I got that position where I wanted it to go, I go and I use another 260 to tie it down and then wrap it against the balloons that's already attached to the backdrop. So I'm repeating that process over and over again just to make sure that it's secure. Now that I have the base of my balloon garland set up on the backdrop stand how I wanted it to be, it's time to start adding the details. I am using a 260 and attaching a balloon to each side of it, and then I'm wrapping the 260 around the balloons that's already attached to my balloon garland. Try using a 260 because if I don't like how the balloons look where I place them, I can always unwrap them and put it somewhere else. If you use a glue dot, it's pretty much permanent. So now I have my set of 5-inch balloons that I'm about to attach to the garland, and I'm going to repeat the same steps as previously with using a 260. So you guys stay tuned and let's see how this garland turns out. I ended up moving that large white cluster of 5-inch balloons because I didn't like the way it was just hanging off and it looked like a big gap behind it. So I cut the 260 and I placed that 5-inch cluster of balloons on the ground to add some detail to the bottom of the garland. I wanted the middle of the garland to be a little bit more full, so I decided to add two 11-inch balloons right underneath that 17-inch gold chrome balloon. Instead of using a 260 for that, I decided to use a glue dot. But before you place your glue dot on the balloon garland, step back, look at it, make sure you're okay about where it's placed, and then put the glue dot on. That way you do not have to pop your balloon to remove it. So I did just that. I was okay with where that white cluster was placed, and I am going to add a 260 to it. I decided to move the one that I placed right underneath that white 17-inch balloon because it just didn't look good to me. I decided to add a few balloons to the opposite side just to add a little bit more detail to the garland. And this was my final result. I love the way the backdrop area turned out. I love the balloons, the detail in them. Everything turned out well. We did close the curtains behind the backdrop just so the sun wouldn't come through them. And everything, like I said, about the final balloon garland was very nice to me. If you have any tips for us, or if you're an experienced balloon artist and you have some tips of what I could do better, please leave them in the comments below, because I am still learning like everyone else, and I would appreciate you guys' advice. And until next time, you guys be safe, and thank you so much for watching.